النشيد الوطني اللبناني. على قاعدة إنه الوطن ما بيتجزأ، النشيد الوطني كمان ما بيتجزأ. أهلا وسهلا. Welcome to the Business Opportunities in Lebanon 2018 conference. We have been holding this conference annually since 2003. Many of you have participated in our past conferences, a sign of loyalty that make us feel very gratified. Every day at Lebanon Opportunities is a day of challenge. Every day at Lebanon Opportunities is a day of challenge. It is a challenge to bring together the data, information, and unbiased analysis of what is working in our economy and what obstacles our businesses need to overcome. It is also a challenge because of the prevalent negative sentiment in the country. In the past few years, especially this year, the bad news of bad politics and bad public sector management has grabbed the headlines and diverted the attention from all the successes that our economy is achieving. Successes that entrepreneurs in small and large companies are achieving, successes in overcoming great obstacles, and successes achieved in spite of the negative sentiment. Successes are not random, nor are they the result of luck and good fortune. They are the fruit of the hard labor of dedicated people, many of whom are with us in this room. Your presence here, coming under the rain to discuss and learn about opportunities, is a testimonial on the positive energy that is still dominant in our economy. Yes, the positive energy is dominant. Or why else has all the predictions of doom and gloom by our political and business leaders have failed to materialize so far? Ever since 2003, when we started this conference, we have people in the press every week, every month, promising us the end of our economy in the next few weeks or in the next few months. And today, if you read the newspapers, you'll hear and you'll see the same owls booming, predicting the doom and gloom. Our economy is still growing today, slowly, very slowly, but in positive territory. Bank deposits are increasing. New companies are opening at a much higher rate than those that are closing. Of course, we have problems, very serious problems. And for this reason especially, the successes we are witnessing need to be highlighted and celebrated. We will start today's agenda with our annual economic report prepared by InfoPro. It is a rapid reading of key economic and business indicators. It will support our thesis that opportunities in Lebanon abound and that there is something for everyone to benefit from. You will then hear testimonials from 4 entrepreneurs from different sectors. We will conclude this inaugural segment of the program with our annual awards ceremony. But before we start, I would like to acknowledge some of the contributions that have made this conference possible. First, to the 50-plus panel moderators, speakers, case study presenters, and panelists, thank you. This is why we have such a big crowd today. They have come to hear from you, to hear your ideas, to listen to your analysis. And in this conference, the attendees don't leave after the opening. They stay till the end, and that's because of you. Thank you also for you, the audience, who by being here are demonstrating your eagerness to go forward and better your skills. You are our positive energy. Our 2 supporters this year, who are deploying out-of-the-box ideas and action, are beacons of growth and success. It is not the first time that Bank Audi has been a leading supporter of the conference, and I'm happy to announce this year Royal Financial has joined our ranks. We look forward to strong partnership with both. We also have many sponsors. Thank you, Ariba, the first company this year to declare its sponsorship. It is joined by our long-term friends who have partnered with us in one form or another for many, many years. This includes Fransa Bank, Blom Bank, Bank of Beirut, and Commercial Insurance. Without you, there would be no conference this year. Thank you to the many companies who are participating in our exhibition outside. Please pass by their booth to learn about what they have to offer. I would also like to single out our content partners who have actively worked with us in identifying interesting themes and cutting-edge panelists. A big thank you to my friend Maya Kharanouh from Tag Brand, who, like each year, worked tirelessly on our side to make sure that our marketing session is out of the box. Thank you also to Samar Layoun from AdBloom, who struggled with me, like every year, to put together a rich session on digital marketing. My green friend, Ziad Abu Shakir, of Cedar Environmental, is launching a great documentary on Zero Waste Lebanon and has helped us in identifying how we should highlight in our program out-of-the-box green achievements and experience. We are delighted to have organized this conference again this year at the Movenpick. They have given us all the attention and support needed for a conference of this size, and it's not easy. Please consider using them for your future events. Last but not least is our family at InfoPro. Everyone at InfoPro is an out-of-the-box thinking team member. Everyone had an input, from editorial to logistics, sales and marketing, graphic design, market research, IT, and all our other disciplines. Thank you, my colleagues. You strengthen the belief that Lebanon Opportunities has a reason to exist and a mission to to fulfill. I hope you'll enjoy the conference. Thank you. Okay, we'll jump right ahead then to our country report. We will start by showing you some of the negative indicators. This way we get them out of the way. And prove that we are not living in La La Land. And then we'll try to revise these numbers and see what do they really mean. So let's do it, and there are going to be too many numbers, but it's the only way to have a serious discussion is by looking and analyzing numbers. So as we all know, and this number keeps popping in every conversation, our gross public debt is growing and has reached around $84 billion, a huge number, which is approximately 150% of GDP. So it is a catastrophe, and there will be no Lebanon tomorrow morning. Yeah. Our trade deficit is also gargantuan, fluctuating every year between $15 to $20 billion. All 2018 numbers here are estimates, of course, and forecasts, because the year has not closed yet. And the numbers for the fourth quarter, sometimes for the third quarter, haven't been announced. So these are rough estimations. So as you see, we need around $20 billion every year just to pay for our trade deficit. So that's bad. So we have no dollars left in the banks. The budget deficit. The government keeps on spending and spending and spending between $3.5 and $5 billion a year. This year in particular, the spending is going overboard, and we expect that we will reach a budget deficit of God knows how much, maybe $5 billion. We don't know, but something like that. True? No? Less? More? More. عصفور عم تقول more. Okay. The balance of payment. Every taxi driver in Lebanon has become a specialist in the balance of payment. And as you see, we first struggled with one method of calculating the balance of payment. Now we have two ways to calculate the balance of payment. And the debate on the sex of the angels, whether you include the Eurobonds or don't include the Eurobonds in the balance of payment, is causing an almost civil war between some of the banks and the central bank. So here are our two numbers. They are in the red. We have a huge balance of payment problem, which is caused, of course, by the trade deficit and by the budget deficit. We used to be happy that the inflation is low in Lebanon, but lately inflation has increased. It is expected to be between 6% and 7% this year. Now, when we look at the numbers a little bit more, we find that what has pushed this number up is the price of fuel, which has affected almost everything, and also an appreciation of the euro from 2 years ago, which has rendered a lot of our imports more expensive, and we import a lot in euro. Okay, so this is the bad news. I will not discuss interest rates. I will not discuss the lira, because at 5:30 we have a full session on this topic with many experts on the matter. Bank Audi is going to make a presentation on how they value the lira and everything that revolves around the lira, such as the interest rate. And we have two brilliant economists, Dr. Marwan Skandar and Dr. Munir Rashid, who will also analyze and comment on Bank Audi's study. So now we try to look at other numbers. One is our GDP. Again, even the World Bank and the IMF cannot agree on what our GDP's numbers are, but both show the same trend, an increasing GDP. Not increasing by much. Some say 1%, some give it 2%, some somewhere in the middle. But it is in line with GDP growth of most mature economies in Europe, North America, and other places. So when you hear that the economy in Lebanon is crashing, and then you look at these numbers, it doesn't match. And while our personal experiences here and there may be faced with some obstacles or see some difficult situations, globally the economy is going forward. Now, we looked at the trade deficit, but we also have created something at InfoPro called real imports and real exports. Real imports are imports of things that we consume, except for petroleum, because the petroleum prices biases the entire equation. So we can look at petroleum on the side, but everything besides petroleum show that we are importing around $14.5 billion, and so we are still maintaining our consumption levels. And in export, also real export, we exclude scrap, we exclude jewelry, because we never know really how much jewelry is being exported. The numbers are often not accurate. And also petroleum products that we export. So we're left with about $2 billion in agricultural and industrial products that we export. And it used to be $3 billion a few years ago, before the problems in Syria. It is $2 billion now. It is small, but it has not regressed to the point of halt when you hear officials say that we do not export anymore, export in Lebanon is dead, we cannot send anything anywhere anymore. That is not true. Okay. The banks, every year they tell us, khalas, the banks are going bankrupt. They don't have money anymore. It's the end, khalas. Finito la musica. Okay, the banks, we see that deposits in banks is increasing. Actually, they have too much money. Their loans to the private sector was increasing until this year, when the central bank has given them much better conditions that a company or an individual can give them. Still, lending is there, but not growing. And if we take the total deposits in banks and we subtract from it all the loans to the private and public sector, we come up with a number that we call non-deployed liquidity, which is liquidity that the banks have that they haven't loaned neither to the public sector or the private sector. And we see that number increasing year after year, which means that banks have excess liquidity, they're comfortable in their liquidity, they will always be able to meet any size demand on its liquidity. And if some traders here have asked the bank to give them some cash and the banks waited for a few days, it is because it takes a long time to go to the central bank and get that liquidity back. It is not because the banks are having a liquidity problem. Remittances, we have all heard that we're not getting any more remittances because the Lebanese outside Lebanon have all gone bankrupt. And also that nobody is investing in Lebanon from outside Lebanon. This is finished. The numbers say otherwise. The numbers show remittances increasing year after year. And they have reached a plateau of $8 billion last year and this year, and probably next year will be around that number. And we see FDI, we don't have predictions for 2018 in FDI, but for the past 3 years, FDI has been around $2.5 billion every year. These are UNCTAD numbers. Okay. Now remember that we have one of the highest the debt over GDP in the world, which means that we should have went bankrupt 10 years ago, which proves that debt over GDP is a useless number. But anyway, people always look at gross debt. So they take all the debt in lira and in dollars, and they add these numbers, and they come up with the gross debt. But there is another way to look at our debt also. The first way is to look at the net public debt. What does it mean? It means all the money that the government owes, minus the money that it has. And the government all the time has around $10 billion in its bank accounts. So which means that the net debt really is around 73 and not 83 billion dollars. Half of this money is in lira. And the other half is in foreign exchange. So if we take another debt to GDP ratio, which is foreign currency debt over GDP, we come up with a number of 62%. Why is that number important? Because countries who are in trouble and have a high debt to GDP are in trouble because their debt is in hard currency. They tell you Greece, they tell you Argentina. These people have borrowed in foreign currency. So when we have 62% debt over GDP in foreign currency, that puts us, Marwan, much below other countries. Percentage of foreign debt versus how much there is reserves in the central bank, not accounting for the gold, we get around 41% reserves. We have 120% foreign reserves to foreign debt. We have around 42 billion in foreign exchange reserves without the gold, and we have about 36 billion dollars in net public debt in foreign exchange. So we have much more cash, foreign exchange cash in the bank than what the country owes. So, of course, we have a big debt. And of course, debt over GDP is a big number. But once we take down the components of this and look at where the danger comes from, the danger comes from the foreign debt, not from the local debt. Okay, we're going to go quickly over some sectors. We see that tourist arrivals are increasing every year. We find that hotel occupancy is about 2/3 consistently. We see that the industrial sector is still investing in machinery, which is a major indicator on their sentiment of their sector. And we have a real estate sector that is completely stopped. We have only $8 billion in transactions last year. Only 60,000 real estate sales transactions that were recorded last year. That is expected this year. Last year was 10 billion. So it is a sector that is dead, except for 60,000 transactions worth $8 billion. Now, it is less than before, 20% less than before. It is a big problem. But it is still one of the main drivers of the economy. Retail. The retail sector, as measured by France Bank and the Beirut Trader Association, is showing that a steady activity, not much change, slightly better. I don't know if it's due to statistical error or not, but slightly better. And to confirm that number, if we take the VAT receipts, which are a good reflection of the retail activity, we see a parallel trend. So the overall retail situation has stabilized around these numbers. And there is a structural problem in retail that you don't see in the numbers, which is a major increase in supply of retail outlets. So many new malls have opened and so many new commercial areas have opened. So the revenue per outlet has decreased, that's for sure. But the overall retail activity has not. So that's a quick reading of the numbers. What conclusion do we arrive to? We arrive to that the situation this year is not worse than the situation of last year. That is not worse than the situation of the year before. That is not worse than the situation of many years until 2003 when we started doing this. And next year, our prediction is that you will find the same type of problems and the same type of opportunities. Some areas will be a little bit more difficult. Some sectors will be a little bit easier. But we are not at the brink of the abyss. We are not at the brink of catastrophe. It is good to point out the negatives, to try to fix them. It is good to debate with policymakers about these things, but it is not good to create panic. And what we are hearing from our leaders, whether political leaders or business leaders, is calls for panic. You hear the heads of the chambers of commerce, of the business associations, various ministers, the 3 presidents, and they all tell you we are about to get bankrupt. And then in the next sentence, they say, we call on all investors to invest in Lebanon. فيك تزقف. It is irresponsible to keep day in, day out, criticizing our economy, predicting doom and gloom on the economy, predicting bankruptcy. We're having a 2% GDP growth. We have a growth in banking deposits. We have a growth in many economic sectors. And people have the courage to predict bankruptcy immediately. If we don't elect the president of the republic, we will become bankrupt. If we do not form a government, we will become bankrupt. If we don't have an additional minister from this sector or the other sector, we'll become bankrupt. If you don't do what I say, we will become bankrupt. No, we will not become bankrupt. And everybody, all these hardworking people in this room are not going to allow the economy to go bankrupt. Thank you very much. We're going to have 4 testimonials. I will not introduce the people with bios or what they've done, because this is exactly what we asked them to do. We asked them to introduce what they've done and why it is an out-of-the-box, and they all have 7 minutes maximum to present. Mr. Muhammad Rabah from Beirut Digital District is our first speaker. Ahla wa sahla.
Can I have a mic? So just the time they put the presentation, 7 minutes for you, Mr. Hafiz. So thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for being here. Thank you, Mr. Hafiz, for inviting me to speak about our project, Beirut Digital District. And thank you for the team of InfoPro for organizing this event. What I will share with you today is our experience that we've led through the last 6 years in introducing a new project that you might know about, which is Beirut Digital District, and how we did what we achieved today in the last 6 years in transforming a neighborhood that was left out since wartime, since 1975, اللي هو بخندق الغميق. Just next by its intersection of Shar al-Khouri, Fuad Shab, we consider it point zero of Lebanon, because it's an intersection of north, south, east, and west, from a no man's land to a tech cluster hosting 1,500 digital creative talent that Lebanon has and enjoys. Why? Because we believe this is the oil and gas of Lebanon. It is what Lebanon has is the graduating talent that they have from the universities, and this will help transform Lebanon into a production hub servicing the region. So this is the impact of technology on
Times are changing, and so are spaces. Homes reflect personalities. Offices are hubs for friendships and creativity. And nature fuses the external world with the indoors. Spaces have become a statement of humanity, an ode to existence, a sense of life. It's no longer about building blocks, nor about layers of concrete. It's about building adventures, memories, and stories. It's about building communities.
So I'm the general manager of ZRE, and I'm a CEO of Beirut Digital District. At ZRE, we believe technology is shaping all industries. And in real estate, the impact is you cannot just build any new block or any new project. You have to target a certain community. And in our aim, in BDD, we targeted the digital creative community. To give you today, after 6 years, we are more than 115 companies. We are 1,500 community members. We have 75 startups that graduate on a yearly basis from BDD. We have 55% of our workforce, which is female, and we are proud of that. We have an average age of 32, and it's a campus-like environment. And when you go there, you feel, and if you're not there, whatever I would say today is not enough until you step foot inside it. Why? Because you will feel the energy, you will feel the hope, you will feel really what Lebanon has, and it's the talent. And this, how did we achieve it? This is part of our community. We have large corporations from Uber, Levant, Warner Music, MENA region that just opened at BDD, and always with our partners and support organizations that push entrepreneurs to create their new companies. And how did we build this? 5 foundations. The foremost is community, is how to really assess the need of your consumer base, how to provide them with a business cluster, which is sharing economy to optimize their office spaces, their usability of added value services, and most important, digital highways. What are digital highways? Fiber optics, because it is this what will help Lebanon to become a production hub. The government should not invest anymore in physical highways. Yes, it will take them a lot. It is important infrastructure. But digital highways will connect Lebanon to the world. And that's what we do. Design, retain our heritage, always. Remember our past. Keep our past. Introduce the future. Smart neighborhood, collaborative architecture. Sustainability. No project will be successful if it's not a sustainable green project. And this is what we do. And final thing, social well-being. Always in a project, see who is your consumer, how can you serve him better, and put him at the center. This is what technology is for, and this is what we applied. And this helped us, and I say always, a picture is better than 1,000 words to transform. This is taken in 2012. This is when we started. And this is just the first bifurcation to your right of Bashar al-Khoury. We put these photos, which is from wartime, and this is, it's important to know Khand al-Ghami. It's an area where you have lots of problems, lots of robberies, you have many difficulties. And the only way that we were able to achieve what we achieved is by working with the community, by employing from the community, by letting them provide them, because this is the only thing that every Lebanese wants, a better future for his kids. And how did we do that? By supporting them to take them to public schools in Bashura. And this is how they accepted, and now they are proud of the project and the change that has happened to this. This is what happened. 6 years, remember, 6 years, not a lot. And this is only the start, because this is all BDD, all BDD. Why did we do this graffiti on a wall, on a building with war marks? Because we believe it's only by education of kids, STEAM education, which is science, technology, engineering, math, and arts, that you can create the future. And not only for boys, more important for women, because women will become moms, and moms will make sure that their kids are as educated as they are. And this is what the government should focus on. This is just the first phase of 4 phases, our vision. This is next phase that we just launched. We will double in size to 2,500 community members, 35,000 square meters by 2020. We want to attract, just in the middle, renovation of an old church, 150-year-old church. It just won with the Lebanese architect Young, the American Institute of Architecture Prize in Los Angeles. Why? From it, the concept, old structure, introduce a modern roof, the light comes through the sharpness of war, and from these sharpness come in the light that gives rebirth to the church. Upcoming, furnished apartment, residential apartment, and all this to create the BDD community. Next, how we do it with technology, how to use technology to improve the user experience of your tenants. And for that, we did our whole infrastructure, fiber optics, that will help every user being known where he is, how we can better serve him, and all of this through network, BDD app, access control, CCTV, BMS, elevators, to allow a better user-friendly approach through our app, which will help in door opening, booking meeting rooms, checking events, chatting, community discounts, request event spaces, all because all the industries are going mobile. It's not computers, it's not platforms, it's not iPads, even everything should be on the mobile. That's where all industries are going. And how to better serve, and with that, not only these, but also ordering food, reporting issues, most important, also in-app payment that we did with our partners, Ariba, who really gave a great experience to our users. We're launching this service also officially next Tuesday with them, and it was a seamless integration. Digital secretary, you will want to visit me, you download the BDD Visitors app, you send a request, I give you an access directly that gives access to all the codes that helps you reach my office automatically without passing by any information booth. And I give you free internet for an hour, and then I can recharge this internet while you roam around BDD, access from any building to the others. So this is what we did. How did we do this? Partnerships, inclusiveness of the neighborhood, integration with local community, introducing a human-centered approach. And I have to say it, all this is done privately. We wanted the only thing from fiber optics from the government. Gladly, we received it last year. But that did not stop us from doing our project the first 3 years. And we achieved more than 100 companies, 1,200 community members in the first 3-4 years. How is that? And I have to say it, quote unquote, don't count on the government. Let it be the cherry on top of the cake. The private sector is what always has driven and has supported Lebanon. The private sector is the initiator. Yes, we all hope and we wish for the government to facilitate our work, to be able to grow much more, but there is talent, there is hope. We believe, as I said, this is the oil and gas of Lebanon. This is the new industry, and this is what will save Lebanon. So that's it. So this is what we do also. startup acceleration, mentorship, access to financing, cultural support, and all through our partners. It's not us, it's through our partners. And thank you. 7 minutes?
I had a bet with Mr. Rabah, and he won it. He said he cannot do, I told him you cannot do this in under 7 minutes, and he said he can, and he did. Thank you very much. This is very inspiring. Next in our program is Mr. Jamil Haddad, who are going to talk to us about gin made in Lebanon. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Hello. Hello. My name is Jamil Haddad. I'm the owner of Colonel Beer before we opened Gata Gin. Colonel Beer, it's been since existence 5 years ago. We opened a microbrewery and a restaurant in Batroun. I believe since 10 years ago that craft industry, it's growing all over the world and it's coming to us. So I started with the beer industry that to introduce to the market in a different way, in a different ways, different types of beer as craft beer. So now why gin? Everybody's asking why gin. I'm one of many Lebanese that I do a lot of hiking, camping, and I love the mountains. And I figured that Lebanon is full of juniper trees. Juniper trees يعني الزاب. Many people don't know what means juniper trees or juniper berries. We have juniper trees more than any other cedars or any other trees in Lebanon. And because we've been hiking all over the mountains and we found out that we have too many juniper trees, and to talk more about the gin, to call any spirit gin, you have to have in it juniper berries. How? It's so weird. Why till now no one did gin in Lebanon? Which I believe that we can produce not only gin even, we can produce too many products, and I believe that we can export this and we can stand out internationally. So what I did is that I sent some juniper berries to Germany to test them, and I found that not only we can produce gin in Lebanon, we can ship juniper berries to Europe. So so since 2.5 years ago, I started to work on this project, and we started to produce this summer. So now you're gonna see the product in a couple of weeks in the market all over Lebanon. I just came back from Europe, and I just sold my first container to Europe. And I believe this product, it's not only for Lebanon. Gin is becoming a big trend all over the world. This is why I picked the gin. Other than I picked the gin because we have too many juniper berries everywhere, and I believe that we can use it as much as we can. So now we're working with too many NGOs in Bekaa Valley that they are picking the juniper berries, and we're using them to produce gin. So not only gin. So I use definitely. Why you tell me why our gin is different? First, our juniper berries is very different than the ones in Europe, and it's a high quality. Second, in Lebanon we have really good quality herbs, and this is why I used in our gin Lebanese mint, that it's really a good quality and we can stand out with it all over the world. And the third one, it's lemon, which is also we have like very good quality and all over the year. So I'm using Lebanese herbs to produce a Lebanese gin that can stand out in a different way all over the world, either in Europe or in London. Last month, I just won Gin of the Year in an entry competition in London with our gin. So yes, we can do it. Yes, we can do it. Of course, we can do it. And I tell you, when you invited me here, they told me that this, today, like it's outside the box. And my slogan in life, which is it's everywhere, it's I don't think outside the box. I think there's no box. So thank you.
Okay, now I'm gonna ask for your full attention. Hello? Hey. I would like to ask Ms. Mira Raham from Loop Scooters, to come up and take us for a ride.
Actually, I wanted to start by asking the audience a question. Since it's raining, I suppose I know the answer, but I will ask it anyways. Consider it was not a rainy day. How many of you would have come to this conference driving their cars? So I see a lot of hands. So I suppose the majority, if not all, are driving every day along the streets of Beirut to go everywhere and never reach the destination on time. Actually, Mr. Hafiz started with the first sentence saying, "We apologize for being late, but it's a rainy day." Now, on another note, if we want to name the top 5, let's say top 5 problems that Lebanese citizens are facing, I would assume transportation would be among these 5, and another problem faced would be pollution. And I believe these 2 problems stretch beyond the city of Beirut to other countries and other cities in the world. What does all this have to do with Loop scooters? Well, Loop is a company that was established in Beirut around 2 years ago. The mother company that owns Loop in Beirut is based in Vancouver, Canada, and is owned by a Lebanese gentleman, an engineer from AUB, who developed a technology called telematics or fleet sharing management. I will not bother you and bother your heads with this terminology. I will just say that telematics is a technology that helps you manage a fleet of moving vehicles. It can be cars, it can be scooters, it can be bicycles. And this technology is mounted on a certain pad that we called a dashboard. Exactly 2 or 3 years ago, the CEO of this company called Anwar Sakariye came to Lebanon and approached Beritech. And we were very lucky to be backed by a funding from Beritech Fund 2, also backed by Circular 331, that helped us establish this company in Lebanon and launch our activities. I practically started from an empty office, a very small office at BDD that Mr. Rabah briefed us on. And now, today, I had no knowledge of fleet sharing. I had no knowledge of scooters, nor of the whole concept. But I'm very proud to say that today we have a fleet of 25 electric scooters. Yes, the number is still small, but we believe in baby steps in every startup, with around 20 stations. Now, how does it work? Our service is app-based. So we have an application called Loop Beirut available on all stores. All you have to do is download that application and start your ride from there. Once the credentials are entered, just like Uber model, we take the subscriber to something called a training session or an orientation session to make sure that this person can drive on the street of Beirut. Now, the scooter, can I have, please? Yes. So this is the scooter. It's orange, just to attract the attention. It's electric, so there is a box for the battery. And it has the rear box to put a helmet. So each scooter is equipped with a helmet, with a hygienic pad, and with a dashboard that you can see on the front. So what happens is that whenever a university student wants to go to university and reach his class on time and do his final exam on time, whenever a business person has a meeting and traffic is jammed as always, or whenever anybody has to do something on the go, we have a lot of ladies using the service, he can just log into the app, book the nearest scooter, and it's all GPS tracked. So each scooter has a certain SIM. Once the booking is done, the customer gets a 4-digit PIN code that he just put in the scooter, and it logs in. So it's a keyless scooter. Now, in many cities around the world, this service is available, but it was for the first time introduced in Beirut and the Middle East area. The model is usually a free-floating model, meaning you should find scooters anywhere you go. In Lebanon, due to security reasons, and because it is a concept that's being introduced for the first time, we opted for a station-to-station model. We do have stations almost everywhere, next to the big universities, next to the business hubs, and next to residential hubs as well. The service, when it was launched around a year and a half ago. We started with only 5 scooters, with 1 station being BDD, because as Mr. Rabah said, there is a community, a big community, a large community of people who are on the go and who need to move around in the city during the day. So we did a proof of concept for around 6 to 7 months, and we're happy to see that there is a lot of demand for this. We actually created the demand because nobody had a clue how this system works. Today, we do have, yes, 25 scooters, as I said, scattered across Beirut. If you ask me about the challenges, yes, we had many challenges, but I believe the main challenge was to educate people and to raise awareness. How do you just convince a person in Beirut to drive a scooter? How do you convince a university student and convince his parents to drive a scooter? It was a hard job to do, but it was a beautiful challenge because we were able to overcome, and the figures speak for themselves today. Talking about figures, we know that the statistics say that the estimated number of cars that come in and out of Beirut every day is 600,000 every single day. And talking about ergonomics a bit, if you want to quantify the amount of productivity that is lost every day because of traffic, it's estimated at around $2 billion. And InfoPro can correct my figures. So there is a challenge, and we were able to solve it. Today, we have around 2,000 subscribers, 2,000 plus subscribers. Not all of them are active, but we have around 400 active people, meaning they use the scooters every day. It has become a lifestyle to many people who dropped their cars and just move around scooters. And we were very glad to be listed last month, actually, on the Forbes top 100 firms promising startups in the Middle East. Of course, we have plans to grow. And in 2019, we plan to have 150 scooters for Beirut City. And our plans stretch beyond Beirut to reach out to areas where we can have close communities of scooters to be used in that area. And surely we will develop this service to reach the Middle East and North Africa. I would like to thank Lebanon Opportunities, Mr. Hafiz, for giving me the chance today to speak up and give a testimonial about Loop. And I hope to see many of you subscribing to that service. We can find us on any store, Loop Beirut, or just check our website and social media at Loop Scooters. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mira. Our last but not least testimonial is for people who are hungry, who one sandwich is not enough. So we're going to call Mr. Elishami to explain why sandwich ونص.
Hello, everyone. Sandwich ونص was born in 2016 in Gemmaise. Our mission was bringing back the authentic Lebanese snack in flavor and experience. When one sandwich is too little and two sandwiches are too much, we created the ideal size, sandwich and a half. So we thought really hard about the name and called it Sandwich ونص. Our main goal is to serve people food from the heart with a great value for money. When we started, instead of boosting with hundreds of dollars on social media launch campaign and thousands of dollars on billboards, we created an interactive communication style. All we did is hang two yaftas. استعجلنا. Anyway, okay. All we did is hang two yaftas. That cost us 50,000 liras only, and we wrote on them Marathon Beirut 42 kilometers or Sandwich Tawu 42 centimeters. We hung them right outside the shop 2 days before the race. The success was so huge and went viral. Surprisingly, this picture went viral again this year in Beirut Marathon 2018 without any intervention from us. We now have 5 operational branches, Gemmaise, Hamra, Furn al-Shibak, Mansouriya and Jalidib, and one which will be operational by the end of December. Our unique selling point is that we have the biggest sandwiches in the market, free Pepsi for dine-in, a unique way of preparing the famous kafta, and the famous special sauce made of 5 fresh secret. A few months after our opening, we were the talk of the town due to our special out-of-the-box social media communication and restaurant experience, which have one main ingredient, the Lebanese DNA. It's as if two friends are talking together. Aiming to be consistent in our food and experience, we didn't shy away from revising and upgrading our menu again and again, and food quality, which made us what we are today. Thank you. كثير مستعجل كنت كثير مستعجل. Thank you.
أنا افتكرت هيعملنا presentation ونص. Now, the fun part of this segment. This is when we get to recognize a few success stories that our editorial board has subjectively chosen based on their experience and the reporting throughout the year in all angles of the economy of Lebanon. This is the third year that we discern these awards, and it's always been a big debate inside our office, with each one rooting for his or her preferable company or project. And although it is subjective choice, it is still subject to a lot of rationality, thinking, asking around, doing some testing the viability of the idea. And here we come. Not all the categories were awarded. We don't succeed every year in awarding all the categories, but this year we succeeded in awarding most of them. So if we are ready, when I call on the company, I would like you to come up from here, and I will give you the award. and then would like you to wait for us here until we are all ready to take a big photo together. Our first award this year is for Product of the Year. This product is the first time that has been introduced into Lebanon, and very soon it will be all over Lebanon, and everybody is going to adopt it slowly but surely. This product is also environmentally friendly and touches about everybody in the country in the future. Today is still beginning, and the winner is eMetco. The second award will mean nothing to people with my age or older. But anybody who is a bit younger than me, which is most of you, you will immediately recognize the brand, and you will immediately agree with our choice for brand of the year, which is Anghami.
It all started in 2012 when Eddie Maroon and Eli Habib dreamed of creating the region's largest music streaming platform that brings artists, music lovers, and brands together. Today, the team is constituted of 105 Anghaminators located in 5 countries. Present all over the MENA region, Anghami's large family is of 73 million users who generate more than 1 billion streams per month and have created around 58 million playlists. Anghami's partnerships now bridge the East and the West. Thousands of artists, hundreds of advertisers, more than 20 telecom partners and all labels have taken part in Anghami's success. And this is just the beginning.
Third award, the Entrepreneurship Program of the Year. This is an award that there is a lot of competition on, because now there are many very good entrepreneurship programs. But it was a no-brainer this year to choose Smart Asia. Of course, we mentioned the poor situation in real estate and that nobody's doing anything. But we managed to find a real estate project that is out of the box, that is being successful, and there are still apartments there if you want to move there. The winner of the real estate project of the year is Mar Mikhail. Sorry, I meant Mar Mikhail village. Thank you. Green is in everything. Green buildings, green car, Emetco, green everything. But we decided also to have a green award like every year. And this award goes for a company which we all love, which we all live with. The company is hospitality. طيب. Okay, sorry. It's also green, actually. It's also green. This wonderful hospitality project, which some of you have visited, and probably most of you have seen on social media. It is charming, basically, and it's efficient and it's beautiful. It is green, but it's the first three criteria that have won the award, and it's a good example to develop hospitality projects in the mountains. So we're very happy to give this award to Kirzai. I'm glad you agreed with me on this one. So back to our green project of the year. Since I did the introduction, I'm not going to do it again. So I call upon Live, Love, Recycle.
بخصوص الزبالة، حل ليف لاف بيروت إعادة التدوير بكبسة زر. كيف؟ أبليكيشن ليف لاف ريسايكل. نفرز الزبالة بكيسين، كيس للريسايكلبلز وكيس للنون ريسايكلبلز. من خلال الابليكيشن نطلب دراج بيجي بحوالي 20 دقيقة على بيروت بياخد الكيس من البيت على معمل الفرز وإعادة التدوير ببلاش. مشروع صار له 3 سنين عم يتحضر. مرنا 400 شخص من دون وظيفة على سواقة الدراجة الكهربائية وقوانين السير وحسن التعامل مع العالم. فكرنا بكل شيء حتى بالأكل. قمنا بتدريب 20 امرأة على الطبخ بشكل سليم تيحضروا أكل للدراجين. بالمعمل دربوا على الفرز وصاروا حاضرين يلبوا طلباتكم.
مبروك. Very good job. Thank you. Advertising campaign of the year. Is the advertisement truthful? Is the advertisement, does it raises the awareness on the brand? Is it related to the brand? Did people remember it? Did they understand the message? In this case, it's yes on all of these questions. And the advertisement campaign of the year goes to Sanita. Okay. Now we're done with the first part of the awards. We still have two very big awards. One for the public sector and one for us. The public sector seldom brings anything concrete to the private sector. And sometimes we have to look very hard to find something that deserves an award. But this year it was very easy. Because the number $11.8 billion is a big number. Mazboot? $11.8 billion in financial support for more than $11.8 billion worth of projects, infrastructure projects, projects that's going to help every city, every town, most villages, and will create jobs and will create opportunities for almost every sector in Lebanon. Oops, sorry. So the award for the public initiative of the year goes to the Sadr Conference. very happy that the Prime Minister has asked one of the key architects of this of the program of the conference, Mr. Hadar Karakalla, to receive his award on his behalf. Yeah, 11.8 billion. Okay. We also have 2 awards that we give every year. The Young Company of the Year and the Company of the Year. This year, we merged the 2 awards into one because we had a very old company that has behaved like a new company. It has woken up and started bringing new products, having a new image, and have dazzled us, not just with its marketing, which was superb, but also by the diversity of its products. The Company and Young Company of the Year goes to قصات الشتورة.
ما فيك تغض النظر